Welcome back to the Joust About Careers podcast. This episode features the highlights of the conversation with Zach Wehrle, a 2013 Van Buren graduate who is a tax senior accountant for EY. The highlights focus on how a typical day looks for Zach, how he moved into the accounting field from criminal justice with the purpose of advancing his criminal justice career, how he prepared for the CPA exam, and much more. If you want to learn more about Zach's career journey, you can always watch or listen to his full interview. And if you find this podcast useful, please share it with someone else who could benefit from it. Enjoy the highlights, and I'll see you here next Monday for a brand new episode. Have a great week.
First, I'd probably start on the time of the year that we're looking at. If it's about January to August or January to April, that's typically our income tax provision time period. So we're helping out audit the tax items on the financial statements for companies. And during that time of the year, it's the traditional busy season that people think of for accountants. So typically, we're out at clients 3 or 4 days a week, just going out there assisting the core audit team who audit all the other items on the balance sheet that aren't tax related. So we're just assisting them. And so that's the traditional busy season. But then there's also another busy season for tax accountants during the fall time period. It's usually about August to October 15th, where we're helping companies file their tax returns. That could vary depending on the type of business we're helping. But so there we're just traditionally filing their tax returns. So just the business's version of a personal income tax return. For our audits, basically, if you're a publicly traded company, every year you have to file a 10K. So basically what we're doing is we're ensuring that companies are accurately reporting how they're doing, how their business is going, and that they're being as fair and honest as possible. So whether if you're a creditor or you're wanting to invest in the company, so we're just helping you ensure that you're getting a good look into that business. So when we're going in there, we're just making sure that they're on the tax side, that their tax calculations are correct. There's no fundamental errors, or maybe throughout the course of an audit, you might discover fraud that the company might be going on within the company. So it's similar but different. Ultimately, we're both trying to help the business and help the outside opinion of that business as well. I think the first thing no matter what career path you're interested in, I started all my internships turned into full-time jobs, and they either reaffirmed maybe how I felt about a profession or a job, or maybe opened my eyes to certain things. So as a probation officer, I interned at the University of Findlay with probation, and then I started there. It was a great experience. I loved it. I got to work firsthand with a lot of different aspects of the justice system. So I was in court testifying on behalf of probationers. I was also in the jail meeting the jail staff, sheriff's deputies, and all of them. When things went bad, talking to the police department if one of my clients got into trouble. So forming those relationships was really cool, just to see how all the different components of the justice system were intertwined. And then when I met my wife, Adri, she got a job in Cleveland. So that led me to pursuing opportunities here. And that's how I kind of landed in Cleveland Municipal Court. And at that time and currently, jail reform was a really big proponent or at the forefront of our government. I was a part of a new department where we tried to help judges make the best decisions for offenders when they went to court for their initial arraignment, just to ensure that only the most high risk or people that truly needed to be incarcerated while their case was pending, only those types of offenders were being incarcerated while their case was pending. So that was a really awesome opportunity. It was new, my position was new, so we were all kind of learning on the fly. And it was awesome. I met a lot of wonderful people here, and the kind of like the bigger city, I've always had a natural draw to that. So from a quality of life, I really enjoyed it as well. And around that time, I was kind of thinking back to my original goal of making it into the federal government. And I was like, man, I'm not sure that the career outlook or the growth is as consistent as I'd like. I saw that there was maybe a potential for my career to kind of be stagnant. So at the time, I wanted to go back to school and try to make myself a better candidate for the federal government. And for those types of positions, they're really looking for multidisciplinary people, well-rounded individuals who have diverse backgrounds that aren't just strictly criminal justice. And my brother at the time was studying accounting at Ohio Dominican, and then my mom has done like book accounting for local small businesses. So talking to both of them, I was like, I knew that I had maybe a potential draw to that line of work or that kind of work, and so that's when I went to Baldwin Wallace and met with their head of accounting, and started going to school while also working full time. And then I got an internship at Ernst and Young where I had to unfortunately leave my pretrial release position. And then once I got into accounting, it was like the hooks were in. I just kind of started falling in love with it more and more. And then that federal government may be in line for me now because I do have the accounting experience to make myself a more attractive candidate, but I'm very happy at my position now. So. So it's four parts. So unfortunately, you can't sit for all four at one time. So every kind of person's different. It is quite a daunting like workload to go study for it, pass it, and whatnot. So it kind of just depends on the person that you talk to. But I would say it takes at least multiple months probably to study for all four. And if you're fortunate enough to pass it, that also plays into it because if you fail a test, you have to retake it, restudy, and kind of go through it all over again. At most of the big four will have as in order to be hired on, depending on your service line. So as in order to become a manager, you have to pass the CPA. So managers at EY, you're a staff for 2 years, senior for three, and then you're open for promotion. You can get promoted earlier than that too, based upon your performance and whatnot. But so in order to make that manager level, you have to be a CPA. And then outside of just at EY, it's a great accreditation. It's a great certification. Like a lot of outside people really, if you look at accounting jobs on LinkedIn, a lot of them say CPA certified or CPA eligible. So there is like a credit hour threshold that you have to meet along with a couple other smaller requirements. So it really kind of just sets you apart. It can really open a lot of doors for you. I think one of the main things you can do is don't be afraid to go and just go up to people, talk to people, and start networking as young as you can because those connections, whether or not you leverage it into an internship, a job opportunity, or just having them in your life to help advise you on different situations that might come up, just networking as much as possible. I would also encourage you not to kind of just look at it in like a pigeonhole. Don't be afraid to try different things. Don't be afraid to make yourself as well-rounded of a candidate as possible. So if you're in college, join the finance club, investment club, volunteer, do jobs, whatever you can to make yourself well-rounded. And then a lot of times, like at EY and then also at probation, your what's on the paper gets you in, but then your personality, your work ethic, and the impression that you leave on people, that's what really gets you those opportunities. And going back to the networking, that's really where you can set yourself apart. All in all, I think it's never too late to go after your dreams or switch it up. Don't be afraid. Like there isn't just one line of path to be in the criminal justice or an accountant. Take detours or boomerangs is commonly in public accounting that we prefer to it. So don't be afraid. There is no one path. You're not doing anything wrong if you take a little hiatus and pursue this. Don't be afraid to dream. Go for it. It's never too late to make a switch. Like I switched, and then I'm 4 or 5 years older than all my colleagues, and that's okay. It just gives you a different perspective, and that can be what actually gets you in the door later on in life. Being able to just be more diversified. I think that would be the main thing.
If you liked this Joust About Careers episode, you can explore previous episodes and highlights to learn about even more careers of Van Buren graduates. To be sure you don't miss upcoming episodes, please click subscribe on YouTube or your favorite podcast platform so you'll know when the next episode is released. Thank you for spending a portion of your day with us, and we hope you will continue to prepare for your future by learning just about careers.